The U.S. is readying its underwater military posture as tensions between China and Taiwan ramp up. A new report shows Washington's nuclear-powered submarines are now more ready than they've been in over a decade. It comes as China tests new ways to control the seas using civilian fishing boats in addition to its Navy. Analysts warn the boats could disrupt U.S. naval operations. A Congressional Research Service report released this week shows the U.S. Navy has improved submarine readiness. For the first time in over a decade, every U.S. attack sub is operational, with none waiting for maintenance. According to the report, Washington has access to almost 50 nuclear-powered subs in case a conflict breaks out. Meanwhile, China only has access to around 32 active nuclear-powered submarines. The Pentagon has been pushing to maintain pressure on China's rapidly expanding Navy. China has the world's largest fleet by ship count, with more than 370 vessels, including roughly 60 submarines. In response, the U.S. has deployed subs into the Pacific and ramped up production. It's aiming to build more than 2 submarines a year. At the same time, Beijing is experimenting with unusual tactics at sea. Earlier this month, over 1,000 Chinese fishing vessels formed a massive floating barrier more than 200 miles long in the East China Sea. Retired Marine Colonel Grant Newsham explains how these vessels could be used to disrupt U.S. naval operations if China attacks Taiwan.
You might think a fishing boat versus a U.S. Navy destroyer isn't much of a match, but when there's a couple thousand fishing boats out there, it makes life more challenging. Plus, there's a real usefulness for anti-submarine warfare. It makes it harder for submarines to operate in the region when you've got a lot of Chinese fishing boats out, and particularly when the Chinese put certain sensors and other hardware on them. And this is very much an extension of the Chinese state, is what you're saying, and it's always been the case, but now we're finally catching on to it, although some people have been sounding the alarm for a long time.
Analysts say the fishing vessels appeared coordinated, holding steady positions instead of moving like normal fishing boats. The move came just after Beijing conducted military drills around Taiwan, including simulated blockade operations. China has been using its fishing fleet and maritime militia to cause tensions in disputed waters like the South China Sea.
One thing I would like to go back, and when you talk about the fishing fleet, there's also a maritime militia, which is worked in with the fishing fleet. And these are parts of the People's Liberation Army armed forces, and they are sort of double-hulled, have stronger, more powerful engines. They're armed, often have surveillance equipment on them, and they function as sort of the muscle of the fishing fleet. So that's in there, mixed in there, and that makes it even more of a lawful target.
The Pentagon says boosting submarine readiness is critical to deterring any move on Taiwan. Meanwhile, analysts say China's use of civilian fishing boats signals a broader strategy aimed at blurring the line between military and non-hostile operations at sea.